Now we are done with our Visualforce page, and we have created one input box and one button, and when you click on this button it should send a message to LWC component. So now it's time to create an LWC component, and to create the LWC component, let's go back to VS Code. And here in the VS Code, for Windows user, I'll use Ctrl+Shift+P, and then you will have this menu open. In this menu you can just do it, create lightning web component. Okay, so you can give here your desired file name. So for me, I'll just name it LMS send message, and then I'll just save it to the default folder. So it will take some time, and it is going to create one LWC component. And inside LWC component, if you see here, we have an HTML file. So now our next step is to just start writing the code. So I'll define lightning card, and for title I'll just define lightning message service, and then I'll close this. Okay, and inside the lightning card, what I'm going to do, I'll define h1 tag, and inside the h1 tag I'll just define a class, that is the SLDS class, and thus that class name would be SLDS text, and then heading, and that would be large. And then I'll provide some padding around this, so maybe SLDS medium around medium. So what it is going to do, so basically sorry, 1 minute, we need to paste it here, not here. Okay, and just for testing purpose, just define some value, lightning message service component. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just deploy this to Salesforce. And before that, we need to actually expose this component so that we can reference it on lightning page. So to do that, I'll define targets, and inside target we can just define target lightning page, and in same way we will define for lightning, let me see, yeah, so this is for app page, and the same way we will define for record page, and then in the same way we are going to define for home page. Okay, save it, and you can just push the changes to Salesforce. I'll just deploy this source to org, and once it is deployed, you can just go back to the Salesforce, and then from this gear icon, edit page, got deployed. You can search your component, and you can just drag it on the same lightning page where you have mentioned your Visualforce page. So I'll saved it. So if you see here, now we have the h1 tag content, this service component here. So what we are going to do next, whenever we type something, let's say I type test message, and when I click send, so it's a Visualforce page, this part is a Visualforce page, it should received by Lightning LWC component and show that message to here. And to do that, we will use Lightning message channel, and that message channel can subscribe the message which was published by a Visualforce page. So now what we are going to do, we just need to go to our JS file, and here we will write code to subscribe. Okay, so okay, so there are few things we need to import for subscribing the message from Visualforce page. So I'll write import, and inside the curly bracket we'll write subscribe module, and then we have unsubscribe, then we have application scope, and then we have message context. So whenever you want to subscribe, you need to import these Lightning message service classes, and then we can use these classes to subscribe the message. I'm going to define two variables. The first variable would be subscription, and I'll define it as null for now, and the other variable would be message received. Okay, so now our next step is to get the message context. So to get the message context, we can use wire adapter. So first thing we need to do, we need to import the wire, and here we can write @wire, and then we have this message context, and then we can define a variable which is going to receive the message. So we can just define message context. Okay, so now we are done with the wire. Okay, so our next step is to subscribe the message which was sent from Visualforce page, right? So to do that, we will create one function, and we'll name it subscribe to message channel, and then we will save it. And here just will define one if condition, and this if condition is going to this dot subscription. If the subscription is not there, then we can write our logic inside this. So we'll assign this dot subscription, and then we can use subscribe module, and we can just open bracket and then the closing bracket, and inside this bracket we are going to write our logic. Okay, so the first thing is we'll get the message context, and then we have VA page message, and I think this is the field VA page message. So I believe this is, oh man, I believe if you go to this so this one, the page, the master level, you can define here. Okay, so we have now VA page message. The third thing is we need to actually define the message, and after defining the message, call a function. I name it handle message, and then we can pass message to it. And we can alternatively we can define scope. So scope would be application scope. Okay, so you need to write these line of codes to subscribe the message from Visualforce page. So as we are calling this handle message, what we need to do, we need to define this handle message function. So I'll just define handle message. In parameter, as we are passing here message, same parameter I'm gonna pass here. So we have message content here, and we already define a variable where we are going to store the sent message. So what we can do, this dot message received, and we can just assign the message dot message to send. So this field is basically we have already defined here message to send, if you see. So we are getting the value of this field and we are storing it in our variable called message received. Okay, that's all. There are few things you need to do as a component life cycle. So the first thing is the connected callback. You can just define connected callback, and in connected callback we can call this class, so that whenever page is load, this subscription channel function will be called. And then we will have disconnected callback as well, so that whenever you want to unsubscribe this channel, you can just unsubscribe it. So inside the disconnected callback, we can call the class for unsubscription. I can just call it this unsubscribe to message channel. Okay, so once you define it, we need to actually write a function which is going to unsubscribe the channel. Okay, to do that we can use the function unsubscribe, and here we can just call this dot subscription, and this dot subscription will set to null to unsubscribe it. So now we are done with our code which is going to subscribe the message from Visualforce page. What next I'm going to do, we need to show this message on the UI, and we have stored this message in message received. So I'll go to the HTML code, and here we can just reference this page. We need to import our message channel as well, and to import it you can just name the your message channel, and then we can import the message channel. And after importing that message channel, you can pass it to the subscription parameter, and from subscription parameter you can get the message content. Now let's go back to our Salesforce org, and the Salesforce org, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just refresh it. Okay, now we have refreshed it, and here what I'm highlighting, here we have Lightning Web Component, and that's LMS send message is our Visualforce component. Now using lightning message service, we are going to send data from LWC to Visualforce page to lightning web component. So let me type something. I am sending data to LWC from VA page, and once I click that send message, it should received or subscribed by lightning web components. So let me click it, and if you can see here, we can just transfer the data, or the lightning web component can subscribe the Visualforce content or data using lightning message service. This is how you can implement it. It's super easy. You can also implement it if you want some hands-on. Just do it by yourself to learn more effectively. Thank you.